Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Godzilla vs. Kong Battle Damage Skullcrawler with HEAV? I'm reading the box right now, HEAV. I don't know if it's pronounced that or just HEAV, because HEAV doesn't really sound right to me, but I could be wrong. But either way, this figure actually came out a while ago, came out in like August, but I'm just finding it now because this figure was very hard to come by at first, but yeah, anyway, this monster here comes from, well, I don't know if he's going to be in Godzilla vs. Kong, but he first appeared in Kong Skull Island, which is a good movie. Not my favorite in the Monsterverse. There are some issues I have with it, but it's still a good movie nonetheless, and I think this design for the creature is actually really sick. It's like, I don't know, it just looks really cool to me. So, yeah. Um, I didn't really quick. I just want to say, I didn't expect to be back. I thought I was going to make that Gamer review and then just be done because I don't really have a lot of figures to review right now. But I went to Walmart yesterday, and sure enough, they had a bunch of Godzilla vs. Kong toys. Ones that I didn't have, so I decided I'll pick them up. So here we are. So yeah, this video is going to come out a little before Godzilla vs. Kong actually comes out. I actually will review that movie once it does come out. I know I'll be in college still, and I might have to do the same thing I did when I reviewed Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, the first season. But yeah, no, I was gonna wait until I came home to talk about the movie, but it's Godzilla vs. Kong. I can't wait. Like, I'm gonna watch the movie, and then I'm just gonna review it, because, like, yeah, I'm so excited for that movie. Even if it's bad, it's like the fact that we're getting another Godzilla vs. Kong is really sick. So, yeah. Anyway, I rambled on for far too long. I really apologize. I do that a lot. So, yeah. Anyway, let's just get right into this. So, before we take a look at the Skullcrawler itself, we'll take a quick look at the little HEAV thing, whatever you want to call it. And it's alright. Not a lot of painting, just a solid gray piece. The windshield is painted, but that's about it. No articulation, but the sculpting and detailing looks really nice, and yeah, it's just kind of there. It's a cool little bonus, I like it, but it would have made a big difference if it wasn't here. So, yeah, it's alright. So, yeah, anyway, now for the Skullcrawler itself. So, first, we'll take a look at the paint, and the painting on this figure it's there. So, a good friend of mine at college, he really doesn't like these figures because, to him, they look awful. And I don't really see why, because the sculpting is nice, I like the articulation and everything like that, but I will admit, the painting on these figures, they're not perfect. And this figure especially has some really, not terrible paint, but it looks off. So let's take a closer look. So, of course, most of the body is this, almost like a brownish blackish color, which looks nice. And we do have some red on the back. It would have been nice if it just sort of continued throughout, but that's just me. Also, for some reason, they're little cuts right here, little red cuts. I don't know what those are, but yeah. Anyway, the inside of the mouth, or at least the tongue here, is painted pink. The head of the creature has a lot of white to it, and the eyes are painted yellow with black pupils, and I will admit, those eyes look really bad. They're just painted on really sloppy, so that's pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. And of course, the battle damage bit is painted red. It would have been nice if, the bones were painted too, but it's whatever. I'm mostly gonna keep that covered up, so it's not a real big deal, but yeah. Anyway, that is it for the painting on this figure, and the painting on this figure it's not the worst I've seen, but it's definitely not the best, so, honestly, I'd give it a half a pass. Because, the eyes look really bad, but we have a lot of nice airbrushing here, which looks nice. Unfortunately, it just kind of, end here at the tail and doesn't really continue, but it's not the worst paint I've seen, but at the same time, it could be a lot better. So the painting, I'd say gets half a pass. Now we'll take a look at the articulation, and the articulation on this figure actually isn't too shabby. So, of course, the mouth can close and open. The arms can move upwards, and there's a bend at the elbow here, And of course they can rotate as well. As I showed off earlier, you know, this back piece can come off. This kind of reminds me of that canceled Jurassic Park Chaos Effect figure, the Ultimasaurus, because it had like dino damage, very similar to this. So, yeah, I always thought that was kind of cool. And the tail here is on a ball joint. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the, you know, the articulation on this figure. Not a whole lot, but honestly, it's not too bad. I'm not expecting like monster arts or anything like that with these figures. So like, you know, the articulation in the arms and everything, that's fine. I think everything here is fine. So honestly, the articulation on this figure, I'd say gets a pass. Now we'll take a look at the sculpt, and the sculpting on this figure is very nice. It looks very accurate to what we see in Kong Skull Island. So again, I just think the design of this creature is really cool. Probably one of my favorite like monster designs from the Monsterverse so far. You know, and this like bit right here, because like there's this little socket right here, and I always thought that was the eye, but no, the eye is actually behind it. So kind of like that orca, like the orca effect, where like there's a big white spot near the eye. So I think that's really cool. But yeah, the sculpting on this figure is good. The tail here is nicely proportioned, and yeah, everything just looks good. So the sculpting on this figure is good. So it gets a pass. Now we'll take a look at the detailing, and the detailing on this figure isn't bad. It's not the best, but it's not too bad. So taking a look at the head here, we can see some very minor creases and everything. And even in the neck here, we have like a little bit of musculature, which doesn't really look too defined, but it doesn't really look terrible. The arms, I will admit, have a very nice bit of musculature. And even the feet are detailed pretty nicely. So yeah, the detailing on the back here is alright. The detailing underneath the skin actually looks pretty alright too. Again, it would have been nice if these were painted, but this is, you know, the detailing, not really the paint. So, yeah. And overall, just a lot of decent, you know, detailing. We have some information here, but that's whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the detailing. It's not the best. It could have been better, but for what it is, it's not terrible. So honestly, the detailing on this figure, I'd say gets 3/4 of a pass. So at the end of the day, should you get this? I'd say yeah. There aren't really too many Skullcrawler figures out there. There was like one that came out for Kong Skull Island, but that one was really small and it didn't have a lot of articulation. Or this figure, you know, it has a lot of articulation, and it's a decent size, and I do like it. And my friend at college, I know I said this at the beginning of the video, he said that he really doesn't like these new Playmates Godzilla figures. And to be fair, I can see a little bit after looking at this figure, because there are some things that don't really look great. But for what they are, for like cheap figures that, you know, for a move, like, because here's the thing, you know, Godzilla figures, as far as like the US goes, you know, the American-made Godzilla movies, ever since like 2014, 2014, yeah, the Godzilla toys for those movies, at least by American companies, haven't been really all that great. Not terrible by any means, but not really great, because the toys for Godzilla King of the Monsters were kind of, eh. And then the toys for this movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, they're better, but they could still be, you know, they could still improve. Of course, Trendmaster, they did great Godzilla toys, but yeah, Kong Skull Island also had a pretty good toy line, considering everything just looked better. It would have been nice if Leonard actually did the toys for Godzilla vs. Kong instead of Playmates, but that's just me. So, yeah. So, at the end of the day, it's not a bad figure. If you want anything of, like, high quality or anything like that, then this is not the figure. But if you want, like, a cool Skullcrawler figure for, like, a kid or something like that, I'm sure he or she will get a really big kick out of this. So, yeah. So, it's only $10, so get this figure if you can. So, yeah. Anyway, if you want to know how big this figure is, here's some hand sanitizer. And here is Dr. Billy Grant. I would bring in the Battle Damage Godzilla and Kong, but unfortunately they are in my dorm right now. And I'm home for a little bit, so yeah, I can't really go back and get them. So, yeah. Anyway, that is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zack out.